I hate doctors. Not in a I'm scared of needles way, though I am, but in a I will ignore every symptom until I'm literally dying way. So when I finally dragged myself to the clinic after 3 weeks of persistent headaches, constant fatigue, and what I was pretty sure was my body staging a revolt, I was already in the worst mood imaginable. My name is Cameron Mitchell. I'm 25, I work in graphic design, and I spend way too much time staring at screens, which is probably why I was having these headaches in the first place. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Cameron Mitchell, the nurse called from the doorway. I stood up, ignoring the slight dizziness that had become my unwelcome companion, and followed her down a hallway that smelled like antiseptic and broken dreams. The doctor will be with you shortly, she said, gesturing to an exam room. Change into this gown opening in the back. The door closed behind her and I stared at the paper gown with its cheerful pattern of tiny medical symbols. Because nothing says you're having a great day like sitting half-naked in a freezing room wearing paper. I changed, sat on the exam table. That crinkly paper made everything feel more dramatic, and waited, and waited, and waited some more. Just as I was considering just leaving and accepting my fate as someone who dies from ignoring medical problems, there was a knock on the door. Come in, I called. The door opened and I forgot how to breathe. The man who walked in was, well, gorgeous didn't even begin to cover it. He was maybe 61, with dark hair styled in that effortlessly perfect way, warm brown eyes behind stylish glasses, and a smile that could probably cure diseases all on its own. He wore a white coat over a blue button-down shirt and somehow made the whole doctor look actually work. Hi Cameron, I'm Dr. Reeves, you can call me Owen. He extended his hand and I shook it, very aware that I was wearing a paper gown and probably looked like I'd been living under a bridge. Sorry for the wait, it's been a chaotic morning. No problem, I managed, trying to sound like a functional human and not someone whose brain had just short-circuited. So, Owen sat down on the rolling stool, pulling up my chart on a tablet. You've been experiencing headaches, fatigue, and some dizziness. Tell me more about that. And so began the most mortifying 20 minutes of my life. Owen was professional, thorough, and kind. He asked questions about my symptoms, my lifestyle, my stress levels. He checked my blood pressure, slightly elevated, probably because I was trying not to have a gay panic attack, listened to my heart, which was definitely beating too fast, and examined my eyes with one of those little lights. When did the headache start? He asked. About 3 weeks ago. I thought it was just from work. I stare at screens a lot. Could also be stress, dehydration, or a few other things. We should run some blood tests to rule out anything more serious. More serious? My voice came out higher than intended. It's just precautionary, Owen assured me, his voice gentle. Most likely it's lifestyle related, but better safe than sorry, right? He spent another 10 minutes going through a thorough examination, and the whole time I was torn between hopping he'd find something wrong so I'd have an excuse to come back, and hopping he wouldn't because, health. All right Cameron, here's what we're going to do, Owen said, making notes on his tablet. I'm ordering a full blood panel and I want you to keep a symptom diary for the next week. Write down when you get headaches, what you were doing before they started, what you ate, how much water you drank, sleep quality, everything. Then come back next week and we'll review the results together. Next week, I said, then immediately tried to sound less eager. I mean, sure, next week, that's fine. Owen smiled and I swear the room got brighter. Is Wednesday at 2 p.m. okay for you? Perfect, absolutely perfect. Great, the nurse will draw your blood on your way out, and Cameron, he looked at me seriously, don't Google your symptoms, trust me, the internet will convince you that you have everything from a brain tumor to scurvy. I laughed despite myself, no promises. At least try, see you next Wednesday. He left and I sat there for a moment, processing what had just happened. I'd gone to a doctor's appointment expecting to get a prescription for better sleep habits or whatever, and instead I'd met the most attractive man I'd ever seen in person. A man who was my doctor. A man who I'd be seeing again in a week. A man whose orientation I had absolutely no idea about. I got dressed, got my blood drawn. Owen was right, I did immediately want to Google everything, and made my way home in a daze. My roommate Jesse took one look at my face and said, "Okay, what happened? Did the doctor tell you you're dying?" Worse, I said, flopping onto our couch, he's hot. Your doctor is hot. Devastatingly hot, like, I forgot how words work hot, like, I might develop chronic illness just to keep seeing him hot. Jesse laughed so hard he nearly fell off his chair. Cam, you cannot develop a crush on your doctor, that's like against all the rules. I know, trust me, I know, but Jesse, you didn't see him, those eyes, that smile, the way he said Cameron like it was a normal name and not just a series of sounds. You've got it bad. I've got it so bad and I have to see him again next week for follow-up. How am I supposed to act normal? Maybe he'll refer you to another doctor and save you from yourself. Don't even joke about that. That night I lay in bed, staring at my ceiling and thinking about warm brown eyes and a professional, caring demeanor. I'd had crushes before, plenty of them, but something about Owen had hit differently. Maybe it was the vulnerability of being in a medical setting. Maybe it was his genuine kindness. Maybe I was just lonely and he was attractive and my brain had decided to make this everyone's problem. Whatever it was, I had 1 week to get myself under control before I had to face him again. Spoiler alert, I did not get myself under control. The week passed both agonizingly slowly and terrifyingly fast. I kept my symptom diary like Owen had asked. The headaches were actually getting better, which was annoying because it gave me less reason to need a doctor. I drank more water. I tried to reduce screen time. I definitely Googled my symptoms despite his warning and briefly convinced myself I had 3 different rare diseases. But mostly I thought about Wednesday at 2 p.m. Jesse caught me changing my outfit for the 4th time that morning. It's a doctor's appointment, not a date, he said from my doorway. I know that, I just want to look put together. You want to look hot. I want to look like a person who has their life together and not like someone who lives on coffee and existential dread. Cam, he's your doctor, he's probably seen way worse. Also, you're going to be wearing a paper gown again. Damn it, he was right. I settled on jeans and a nice sweater, casual but intentional, and headed to the clinic. My appointment was at 2 p.m., but I arrived at 1:45 because apparently I'm the kind of person who's early to medical appointments when there's a cute doctor involved. The waiting room was nearly empty. I checked in, sat down, and tried to look casual while my heart attempted to beat its way out of my chest. Cameron Mitchell. I looked up and there was Owen standing in the doorway himself instead of sending a nurse. He was wearing dark slacks and a gray button-down under his white coat, and he looked even better than I remembered. Hi, I said, standing up way too fast and immediately feeling dizzy. Sorry, stood up too fast. Careful, Owen said, his hand briefly touching my elbow to steady me. How have the symptoms been? Actually better, I admitted as we walked to the exam room. The headaches are less frequent and I'm not as tired. That's great news, the blood work came back too and I want to go over it with you. We entered the same exam room from last week. This time I didn't have to change, thank God, and we sat across from each other, him on his stool, me on the exam table. So good news, Owen said, pulling up results on his tablet. Your blood work looks completely normal. No deficiencies, no markers for anything concerning. Based on that and the improvement in your symptoms, I think we're looking at a combination of stress, dehydration, and too much screen time, exactly what you suspected. Oh, I said, and I couldn't help the slight disappointment in my voice. No more appointments meant no more legitimate reasons to see Owen. He must have heard it because he looked at me curiously. You sound almost disappointed that you're healthy. No, that's great, I'm relieved. I was a terrible liar. It's just, I guess I built it up in my head as potentially serious. Understandable, health anxiety is real, especially when symptoms persist. He made some notes. I want you to continue with what you've been doing, more water, regular breaks from screens, better sleep hygiene, but Cameron, I also want to talk about stress management. Stress management. Your diary showed a correlation between work deadlines and symptom intensity. Have you considered therapy or other stress reduction techniques? I haven't really thought about it. It might be worth exploring. I can give you some referrals if you're interested. He paused, then added, I also noticed you work in graphic design. Long hours on the computer, irregular sleep schedule, high-pressure deadlines, it's a recipe for burnout. You sound like you know the industry. Owen smiled. My sister's a designer. I've watched her go through similar things. She finally found a better work-life balance and it changed everything for her. We talked for a few more minutes about lifestyle changes, stress reduction, and follow-up care. Owen was professional, knowledgeable, and genuinely seemed to care about my well-being beyond just the medical symptoms. And then all too soon, he was standing up. Well, Cameron, unless your symptoms return or worsen, I don't think you need another appointment, but if anything changes, don't hesitate to call. This was it, my last legitimate reason to see him. Thank you, I said, standing as well, for everything. You've been really helpful. That's what I'm here for. He extended his hand for a handshake and I took it. His hand was warm, his grip firm but gentle. Take care of yourself, okay? I will. I left the clinic feeling oddly deflated. Yes, I was healthy, which was objectively good, but I'd also just said goodbye to any chance of seeing Owen again. Back to my regular life minus the cute doctor. Jesse was working from home when I got back. So he asked, how'd it go? I'm fine, healthy, just need to manage stress better and drink more water. That's great. Why do you look like someone killed your dog? Because I'll never see him again, Jesse. That was my last appointment. I'm cured, it's over. You're being dramatic. I'm being realistic. He was professional and kind and completely out of my league, and now I'll never know if there could have been something there because the universe has terrible timing, and also I'm apparently disaster-prone when it comes to romance. Jesse sighed. Cam, even if you saw him again, he's your doctor. That's an ethics thing. Doctors can't date patients. I know, that's what makes it worse. The universe showed me this perfect person and then immediately made him off limits. Maybe you'll run into him outside the clinic. Jesse, this is a city of 8 million people. The chances of randomly running into him are. My phone buzzed, unknown number. I opened the text. Hi Cameron, this is Dr. Reeves. I hope it's okay that I got your number from your file. I wanted to follow up about those therapy referrals. Would you be free to discuss over coffee sometime? I stared at my phone. Jesse stared at my phone. We both stared at each other. Is that what I think it is? Jesse whispered. I think my doctor just asked me out for coffee. Oh my God. But like in a professional capacity, for therapy referrals, that's professional. Cameron, no doctor texts their patient from a personal number to meet for coffee about therapy referrals. They email that stuff or discuss it at the appointment. My hands were shaking as I typed back, that would be great, when were you thinking? The response came quickly, Saturday afternoon, there's a cafe near the clinic, 3 p.m. Perfect, see you then. I looked at Jesse. I have a coffee date with my doctor. This is either the best or worst thing that's ever happened to you, and I honestly can't tell which. Neither could I. Saturday took forever to arrive. I changed my outfit 6 times, convinced Jesse to tell me honestly if I looked like I was trying too hard. His answer, yes, but in an endearing way, and arrived at the cafe 15 minutes early. The place was cozy, exposed brick, local art on the walls, the smell of fresh coffee and baked goods. I ordered a latte and sat at a table near the window, watching people pass by and trying not to have a nervous breakdown. At exactly 3 p.m., Owen walked in. He wasn't wearing his doctor coat, obviously. Instead, he had on dark jeans, a fitted Henley, and a leather jacket that should have been illegal. His hair was slightly less styled than at the clinic, and he looked younger, more relaxed. He spotted me, smiled, and walked over. Cameron, hi, thanks for meeting me. Of course, thanks for reaching out. He sat down across from me, and there was a moment of awkward silence. So I said, therapy referrals. Owen laughed, a real, genuine laugh that made my stomach flip. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, that was an excuse. An excuse. Cameron, okay, this is going to sound incredibly unprofessional, but I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since your first appointment. I forgot how to breathe. What? I know this is crossing a line. I know I shouldn't have texted you, shouldn't have asked you here, but I also know that as of this week, you're no longer my patient. Your treatment is complete, so technically, ethically, there's no doctor-patient relationship anymore. You looked into the ethics, I said, slightly dazed. Extensively. I even talked to my supervisor about the theoretical situation of being interested in a former patient. Got the whole rundown on professional boundaries and appropriate waiting periods. He ran his hand through his hair, looking nervous for the first time since I'd met him. Look, if I'm reading this completely wrong, please tell me. If you're not interested or if this makes you uncomfortable, I will apologize and we can forget this ever happened. You're not reading it wrong, I blurted out. I've been thinking about you too, constantly, embarrassingly constantly. My roommate is ready to stage an intervention. Owen's face broke into a relieved smile. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually disappointed when you said I didn't need more appointments. I noticed that's kind of what gave me hope that maybe. He trailed off, then seemed to gather his courage. Cameron, I don't usually do this. I'm normally very by the book, very professional. But there was something about you, the way you made self-deprecating jokes when you were nervous, how you actually kept that symptom diary even though I could tell you thought it was silly, the way you blushed when I had to check your lymph nodes. Oh God, you noticed that. It was adorable, you're adorable, and I'm completely breaking about 15 rules of professionalism by saying that, but since you're not my patient anymore, I'm going to take the risk. He looked at me directly. This is a date, Cameron, if you want it to be. I'm asking you on a date. I want it to be, I said immediately. Definitely a date, 100% a date. Okay, good, he visibly relaxed. In that case, tell me about yourself, the real you, not the patient with headaches. And just like that, we started talking, really talking. I told him about my work as a graphic designer, about the small agency I worked for and how I was trying to build up a freelance portfolio on the side. About how I'd moved to the city 3 years ago with big dreams and had been slowly figuring out what those dreams actually were. Owen told me about med school, about his residency in emergency medicine before switching to primary care because he wanted to build relationships with patients instead of just treating acute problems. About his sister who lived in Portland and his parents who had retired to Florida and called him every Sunday without fail. So why medicine? I asked. Honestly, my grandmother, she had diabetes and went through a lot of health problems when I was a kid. I watched how much difference it made when she had doctors who actually listened to her, who treated her like a person and not just a condition. I wanted to be that for people. That's really beautiful actually. What about you? Why graphic design? Less noble, I'm afraid. I was good at art in high school, didn't know what else to do with it, and design seemed practical. I paused. But I do love it. I love taking someone's vision and making it real. I love the problem-solving aspect of it, like, how do you communicate an idea or emotion through color and space and typography? It's like puzzle solving but creative. That doesn't sound less noble, that sounds like you found something you're passionate about. Yeah. We talked for 2 hours. The coffee grew cold, the cafe filled and emptied around us, and we barely noticed. Owen was funny and smart and genuinely interested in everything I said. He told stories about ridiculous things that happened in the clinic, keeping patient confidentiality, of course, and I told him about nightmare clients and design disasters. Okay, weirdest client request, Owen said, go. Oh God, okay, once I had a client who wanted me to design a logo that incorporated her cat's face, her ex-husband's tears, and the concept of feminine vengeance. She was very specific that I needed to capture all three elements. Owen nearly choked on his coffee. You're joking. I wish I was joking. I ended up doing 3 completely different designs and she picked the one that had the least visible cat. What about the tears and vengeance? Represented by color choices and sharp geometric shapes. Don't ask me to explain my methodology because I couldn't. He was laughing so hard he had tears in his own eyes. That's incredible. Okay, my turn. Weirdest patient complaint. Wait, are you allowed to tell me this? Generic version, no identifying details, but yes. He leaned forward conspiratorially. Had a patient once who insisted he had a rare tropical disease, described all these symptoms very dramatic. Turns out he'd watched a documentary about parasites and convinced himself he had all of them. Did he? He had seasonal allergies, but he was absolutely convinced I was missing something, so I referred him to an infectious disease specialist just to be thorough. The specialist called me laughing because the patient brought in a list of 17 different parasites he thought he had, complete with printouts from WebMD. Oh no, you told me not to Google. Exactly, this is why. The internet is a dangerous place for health anxiety. The conversation flowed so naturally it was almost scary. Usually, first dates were awkward, stilted conversations, desperate attempts to find common ground, the constant internal debate about whether you're talking too much or not enough. But with Owen, it felt like talking to someone I'd known forever. At some point, I noticed it was getting dark outside. Oh my God, what time is it? I checked my phone. It's almost 5:30, we've been here for 2.5 hours. Is that a problem? Owen asked. I know, I just lost track of time. Me too, he smiled. I have a question, are you hungry? Because there's a great Thai place 2 blocks from here and I'd really like to continue this if you're free. I'm free, I said, probably too quickly. Definitely free. We gathered our things and left the cafe, stepping out into the cool evening air. As we walked toward the restaurant, Owen's hand brushed against mine, then hesitantly he linked his pinky with mine. Such a small gesture, but it sent electricity through my whole body. This okay? He asked softly. More than okay. By the time we reached the Thai restaurant, we were holding hands properly and I was pretty sure I was glowing. Dinner was even better than coffee. We sat in a cozy booth in the back, ordered way too much food and continued to talk about everything and nothing. Owen told me about his ex-boyfriend, it ended badly but we're civil now, and I told him about my dating history, a series of almost relationships that never quite worked out. Why didn't they work out? Owen asked, genuinely curious. Honestly, I think I was always waiting for something that felt right, like really right, not just good on paper or fine for now, but actually right. I paused. Does that make sense? Complete sense? I feel the same way. After my last relationship ended, I told myself I wasn't going to settle. I'd rather be alone than be with someone just because they're there. And yet you're on a date with a guy who came to your office with stress headaches. I'm on a date with a guy who kept a detailed symptom diary even though he thought it was silly because he wanted to be thorough. A guy who makes adorable self-deprecating jokes and has opinions about typography. A guy who I haven't stopped thinking about for 2 weeks. I was blushing so hard I probably looked sunburned. You're really smooth, you know that. Not usually, you make me want to be though. After dinner, Owen insisted on paying. I asked you out, I pay, and we walked slowly back toward where we'd parked. Neither of us seemed eager for the evening to end. So, Owen said as we reached my car, I had a really great time tonight. Me too, really great. Can I see you again? Please. He smiled and then, slowly giving me plenty of time to pull away, he leaned in and kissed me. It was soft, gentle, perfect. His hand came up to cup my face and I melted into it, one hand fisting in his jacket to pull him closer. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathless. Wow, I whispered. Yeah, Owen agreed, wow. We stood there for another moment, just looking at each other, both of us smiling like idiots. Text me when you get home, Owen said. I will. And Cameron, I meant what I said, I really want to see you again. I'm not just interested in something casual. Good, neither am I. I drove home in a daze, texted Owen when I arrived. He responded immediately with a smiley face that made my heart flutter, and then sat Jessie down for a full debrief. So let me get this straight, Jessie said when I finished. Your doctor, who you had a massive crush on, is no longer your doctor specifically so he could ask you out. You went on a date that lasted 5 hours, he held your hand, kissed you and wants to see you again, and you're telling me this isn't the plot of a romance novel. When you put it like that, it does sound fake. Cam, this is literally the meet-cute fantasy. Do you know how many people would kill for this story? It does seem too good to be true, I admitted. What if something goes wrong? Don't borrow trouble, just enjoy it. You deserve someone who makes you this happy. I wanted to believe that, I really did. The next few weeks were a blur of getting to know each other. Owen and I texted constantly, good morning texts, random thoughts throughout the day, good night messages that turned into hour-long conversations. We went on proper dates, dinner, movies, a museum exhibit about medical history that Owen was adorably excited about, a street fair where we ate too much fried food and rode a Ferris wheel like teenagers. Every date ended with kissing that got progressively more intense. We made out in his car after dinner, against my apartment door when he dropped me off, on his couch during a Netflix evening that we both knew was going to turn into more. About a month in, I met his sister Emma when she visited from Portland. She took one look at us, how Owen's hand automatically found mine, how we kept glancing at each other and smiling, and pulled me aside. I've known my brother for 28 years, she said, and I have never seen him like this. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He makes it easy, I admitted. Good, because if you hurt him, I know where you live. Did he give you my address? No, but I'll find it. I liked her immediately. Everything was going perfectly, almost too perfectly, which is probably why I shouldn't have been surprised when the complication showed up. It was a Tuesday evening. Owen and I had plans to cook dinner at his place, our first time really spending extended time at each other's homes. I was excited, maybe a little nervous about the intimacy of it all. I knocked on his apartment door at 7 p.m. exactly, holding a bottle of wine and trying not to overthink everything. Owen opened the door and I immediately knew something was wrong. His smile was strained and there was tension in his shoulders. Hey, I said carefully, everything okay? Yeah, sorry, come in. He stepped aside to let me enter. His apartment was nice, clean, modern, with warm touches that made it feel lived in, but I barely noticed because Owen was clearly stressed about something. What's wrong? I asked. Owen ran his hand through his hair, his nervous tell I'd learned. I got a call today from work about us. My stomach dropped. About us. Apparently, someone saw us together, one of the nurses from the clinic. She didn't say anything directly to me, but she mentioned it to my supervisor, and my supervisor wanted to make sure everything was above board. Are we in trouble? No, technically we haven't done anything wrong. You're not my patient anymore and I followed all the proper protocols. But, he sighed, it's made things complicated. My supervisor suggested I might want to refer your medical care to another doctor in the practice just to avoid any appearance of impropriety. Makes sense, I said slowly. And there's something else. Owen looked uncomfortable. Your file is still in the system, and while you're not actively my patient, if something came up medically, it could create conflicts. Some of my colleagues are concerned about the optics. Are you saying we should stop seeing each other? No, Owen said quickly. God no, Cameron, I'm not saying that at all. I need you to understand that this might be complicated. Some people at work might judge this, might question my professionalism, and I need to know that you're okay with that this is worth it to you. I stepped closer to him, taking both his hands. Owen, I've been falling for you since that first appointment. Actually falling for you, not just a crush, not just attraction. You're kind and funny and smart, and you make me feel seen in a way I've never experienced before. So yeah, it's worth it. Whatever complications come with it, it's worth it. The tension in Owen's face melted. You're falling for me. Have been for weeks now. He pulled me into a kiss, deep and intense and full of relief and promise. When we broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. I'm falling for you too, he whispered. Have been since you sat in that exam room looking terrified and making jokes to cover your nerves. I need you to be sure, because if we're doing this, I'm all in, and I need to know you are too. I'm sure, I said firmly, I'm so sure. Okay, good, he kissed me again, softer this time. Now, I believe I promised to cook you dinner. You did. What are we making? Carbonara. I hope you're hungry. Starving. We moved to the kitchen and Owen put me to work chopping vegetables while he handled the pasta. We fell into an easy rhythm, talking and laughing, stealing kisses between stirring and seasoning. The earlier tension dissipated, replaced by the comfortable intimacy of cooking together. So, I said as Owen plated our food, did you always want to be the kind of doctor who texts patients about coffee dates? Absolutely not. I was a by-the-book student, never broke a rule. My friends used to joke that I'd probably report myself if I jaywalked. What changed? He looked at me seriously. You did. You walked into my office looking like you'd rather be anywhere else, made a self-deprecating joke about your symptoms probably being from living on coffee and poor life choices, and something just clicked. I kept thinking about you, wondering if you were okay, if the treatment was working, wondering if you were single, if you'd be interested if I had a chance. You always had a chance. I didn't know that. For all I knew, you had a boyfriend and just thought I was your annoying doctor. Trust me, annoying is not the word I would have used. What word would you have used? Devastating, life-ruining, the reason I now have an inappropriate doctor fantasy. Owen nearly dropped his fork. Cameron. What? You started it with the whole texting your patient about coffee thing. We ate dinner still laughing, and afterward Owen pulled up a movie. We settled on his couch, and within minutes I was curled against him, his arm around me, feeling more content than I had in years. "This is nice," Owen murmured. "Yes. Yeah, having you here feels right." I tilted my head up to look at him. "It does, doesn't it?" He kissed me again, and this time it didn't stay gentle. It deepened quickly, my hands finding his hair, his hands sliding under my shirt. We shifted positions, me straddling his lap, his hands on my waist, both of us breathing hard. "Cameron," Owen said against my lips, "I don't want to rush this, but—" "I want to," I interrupted, "if you do." "I really do." What followed was a night of discovery, learning each other's bodies, what made the other gasp or moan or dig their fingers into skin. Owen was attentive and generous and kept checking in to make sure I was okay, that I wanted this, that it felt good. "More than okay," I gasped at one point, "so much more than okay." Afterward, we lay tangled together in his bed, sweaty and satisfied and grinning like idiots. "So," Owen said, tracing patterns on my back, "was that okay, for a first time together?" "Owen, if you can't tell from my current inability to form coherent sentences, it was significantly better than okay." He laughed, pulling me closer. "Stay tonight, I don't want you to go." "I'd love to." And so I stayed, falling asleep in Owen's arms, feeling safer and happier than I had in a long time. The next morning, I woke up to Owen placing a gentle kiss on my forehead. "Morning," he murmured, "I made coffee." "You're perfect. Has anyone ever told you that?" "You might have mentioned it once or twice last night." I blushed, remembering exactly what I'd said in the heat of the moment. "Okay, you don't need to bring that up." "Oh, I'm absolutely bringing that up, frequently, it's going in my highlight reel." Over coffee and toast, Owen asked about meeting Jesse. "I feel like I should meet your best friend," he said, "make sure he approves." "Jesse will love you, he's already obsessed with our meet cute story. Fair warning though, he will ask invasive questions and have zero filter." "I can handle that." So that weekend, we invited Jesse to dinner at Owen's place. I was nervous, Jesse's opinion mattered to me and I really wanted this to go well. Jesse arrived right on time, carrying a bottle of wine and wearing his most charming smile. "You must be Owen," he said, shaking hands. "I've heard so much about you, mostly good things." "Mostly," Owen laughed. "Well, Cam did complain about the blood draw, said the nurse was rough." "Jesse," I protested. "What you did, you texted me a whole paragraph about it." Owen laughed. "I'll make sure to use a different nurse next time Cameron needs blood work." "Please don't say next time," I groaned. "I'd like to never need medical care again." Dinner was great. Jesse and Owen hit it off immediately, bonding over their shared love of terrible reality TV and their mutual exasperation with me. "He never drinks enough water," Owen complained. "I've tried everything," Jesse agreed. "It's hopeless." After Owen went to the kitchen to get dessert, Jesse pulled me aside. "Okay, I approve," he whispered. "He's smart, funny, clearly crazy about you, and hot enough that I understand why you developed those convenient symptoms." "I didn't develop them on purpose." "Sure you didn't," Jesse grinned. "But seriously, Cam, he's good for you. I haven't seen you this happy in years." "I am happy," I admitted. "Sometimes it scares me how happy." "Don't let fear ruin something good, just enjoy it." The evening ended with Jesse giving both of us hugs and making Owen promise to take care of me, "or I'll write a very detailed Yelp review about your clinic," he threatened. Everything was going well, almost too well. Then I got a text from an unknown number. "Hi Cameron, this is Dr. Patricia Chen from City Medical Clinic. Dr. Reeves mentioned you might need to transfer your care. I'd love to set up an appointment to meet you." I showed the text to Owen when he came over that evening. "That was fast," I said. "My supervisor wanted to make sure everything was properly documented. Dr. Chen is great, she's been at the clinic for years, very thorough." "But she's not you." "No," Owen agreed, pulling me close. "But this way there's no question about our relationship, no gray area. You'll have a doctor who's just your doctor and I can be your boyfriend without any ethical concerns." "Boyfriend," I repeated, my heart skipping. Yeah, I mean if that's what you want, if I'm not moving too fast." "You're not," I interrupted. "Boyfriend sounds perfect." Owen kissed me and I melted into it. Everything felt right with him, natural, like we'd been together for years instead of just a few months. But there was still a complication I hadn't mentioned to him yet. "Owen," I said carefully, pulling back, "there's something I should tell you." His face grew concerned. "Okay. I got a job offer, a really good one, from a design agency in San Francisco. They want me to start in 3 months." Owen went very still. "San Francisco?" "Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity, more money, better portfolio work, a chance to really establish myself. But it would mean leaving New York, leaving you." "What did you tell them?" "I said I needed time to think about it. That was 2 days ago." I took a breath. I wasn't going to consider it, I was going to turn it down without even discussing it because of us. But then I realized I should at least talk to you about it, we should figure this out together. Owen was quiet for a long moment, processing. "Cameron, you can't turn down a major career opportunity for a relationship that's only been official for, what, a few weeks?" Yeah. "It's been longer than a few weeks. In terms of actual dating, it's been less than 2 months. And yes, it's been amazing, but you can't make life decisions based on a relationship that's still this new." "So what are you saying, that I should take it?" "I'm saying you should make the decision that's right for your career, your life, not just your relationship status." I felt my chest tighten. "You sound like you want me to go." "I don't want you to go," Owen said, his voice strained. "The thought of you leaving makes me feel sick, but I also don't want you to resent me in 5 years because you turned down your dream job for a guy you just started dating." "You're not just a guy," I said, my eyes stinging. "You're God, Owen, you're it for me." "I know that sounds dramatic and fast, but it's true. I've never felt like this about anyone." "I feel the same way," Owen said softly, "which is why I want you to make the right choice even if it's not the choice I want." We sat in heavy silence for a moment. "What if I asked you to come with me," I said quietly, "to San Francisco? What if we both went?" Owen looked at me with surprise and something that might have been hope. "You'd want me to come with you?" "Of course I would, Owen. I don't want to build a life without you in it. If I go to San Francisco, I want you there. Cameron, I have a career here, a practice, patients, colleagues. And you could have all of that in San Francisco too. There are clinics there, hospitals, patients who need doctors. You could transfer, get licensed in California." "It's not that simple." "I know it's not simple," I interrupted. "I know it's fast and crazy and probably irresponsible, but when I think about my future, you're in it, always, and I don't want to be on opposite coasts wondering what might have been if we'd been brave enough to take the risk." Owen pulled me into his arms, holding me tight. "You're asking me to move across the country for a 2-month relationship. I'm asking you to take a chance on us, on what we could be." "I need time," Owen said finally, "to think about it, to look into what transferring would entail. This is a huge decision." "I know, take all the time you need." I told them I'd have an answer in a month. "A month," Owen repeated. "Okay, we can figure this out in a month." But the easy comfort between us had shifted. There was tension now, uncertainty. We tried to act normal over the next few weeks, but the San Francisco question hung over everything. Owen did research, looked into licensing requirements for California, contacted clinics about potential positions. I agonized over the decision, making pro and con lists that Jesse found and made fun of. Pro, dream job; con, leaving Owen; pro, Owen might come; con, asking him to upend his life. "Cam, you're overthinking this." 3 weeks after I got the offer, Owen and I met for dinner at our favorite Thai restaurant, the one from our first date. "I've made a decision," Owen said after we ordered. My heart was pounding. "Okay. I can't come with you to San Francisco, at least not right now." I felt like I'd been punched. "Oh. My sister needs me here, she's going through a divorce and it's getting messy. She's got 2 kids and she needs family support, and my parents, they're getting older and my dad's health isn't great. If something happened and I was on the other side of the country." He ran his hand through his hair. "I'm sorry, Cameron, I want to go with you. God, I want to, but I can't leave my family right now." "I understand," I said quietly, and I did. Family was important. I couldn't ask him to abandon his sister when she needed him. "But," Owen continued, taking my hand, "I don't want to lose you. So here's what I'm thinking. You take the job, you go to San Francisco, we try long distance." "Long distance?" It's not ideal, it's going to be hard, but Cameron, what we have, it's worth fighting for. And maybe in a year or two, when things settle with my sister, when the timing is better, we can revisit the idea of me moving. Or maybe you'll find that San Francisco isn't what you want and you'll come back. I don't know, but I know I don't want to give up on this. I squeezed his hand. You really think we can make long distance work? I think we can try, and I think we'd regret it if we didn't at least try. Okay, I said, making a decision. Okay, I'll take the job, we'll try long distance, and we'll figure out the rest as we go. Owen smiled, that beautiful smile that had first made me fall for him. Yeah. Yeah. He stood up, came around the table, and kissed me right there in the restaurant. I love you, he said against my lips. I should have said it weeks ago, but I love you, Cameron. I love you too, I whispered back, so much. The next 3 months passed too quickly. Owen and I spent every possible moment together, knowing our time was limited. We had date nights and lazy Sundays. We went on a weekend trip to a cabin upstate where we hiked and made love by the fireplace and talked about our future. 6 months, Owen said one night as we lay tangled together. Let's commit to 6 months of long distance and then we'll reevaluate, see how it's working, whether it's sustainable. 6 months, I agreed. I can do 6 months. Jesse threw me a going-away party. Emma flew in from Portland to say goodbye. My parents, who I'd introduced to Owen a month earlier and who adored him, came into the city for a final dinner. Take care of my son, my mom told Owen, even from far away. I will, Owen promised. I plan to. The last night before my flight, Owen stayed over at my mostly packed apartment. We barely slept, talking and holding each other, both trying not to cry. This isn't goodbye, Owen said as dawn broke, it's just see you later. See you later, I echoed, my voice breaking. At the airport, we held each other for a long time, neither wanting to let go. Call me when you land, Owen said. I will, I love you. I love you too, so much. One more kiss, long and desperate and full of promise, and then I was walking toward security, looking back to see Owen watching me until I disappeared from view. San Francisco was beautiful. The apartment the company had helped me find was small but nice in a neighborhood full of restaurants and shops. The job was challenging and exciting. I was meeting people, making connections, building a life. But I missed Owen constantly. We FaceTimed every day, morning coffee dates where we'd both sit with our laptops and pretend we were in the same room, evening catch-ups where we'd talk about our days. We texted constantly. We sent each other packages, care packages full of favorite snacks and inside jokes and love notes. How are you holding up? Jesse asked during one of our calls. It's hard, I admitted. I love my job, love the city, but going to bed alone every night, not being able to see Owen whenever I want, it sucks. Have you talked about visiting? He's coming out for Thanksgiving, that's 2 months away. You can do 2 months. But 2 months felt like forever. The work helped. I threw myself into projects, impressed my new colleagues, started building a name for myself, but in quiet moments I ached for Owen, for his laugh, his touch, the way he looked at me like I was the most important person in the world. Owen was struggling too, I could tell. He tried to hide it, tried to stay positive during our calls, but I knew him well enough to see the strain. My sister's divorce is getting uglier, he told me one night. Her ex is fighting for custody and she's a mess. I'm glad I'm here for her, but God, Cameron, I miss you. I miss you too, every day. November can't come fast enough. When November finally arrived, I was at the airport 3 hours early, too excited to wait at home. And when I finally saw Owen walking toward me, looking tired but smiling, I ran to him, jumping into his arms as he caught me. Hi, he said, kissing me deeply. God, I missed you. Missed you too, so much. That weekend was perfect. I showed Owen around San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, Fisherman's Wharf, the tiny apartment I called home. We stayed in bed half the time, making up for months apart. We talked about everything, our jobs, our lives, whether this was sustainable long-term. I don't know if I can do this indefinitely, Owen admitted on Sunday night, our last night together before he flew back. Being away from you, it's harder than I thought it would be. I know, for me too. But I'm not ready to give up on us, are you? No, never. So we keep going, 6 months, remember, we committed to 6 months and then we reevaluate. 3 more months, I said, we can do 3 more months. But 3 months felt impossible after having him close again. Saying goodbye at the airport was even harder than the first time. Back in my routine, I felt Owen's absence more acutely. The apartment felt emptier. The city felt lonelier. Even work, which I loved, couldn't fill the Owen-shaped hole in my life. Then in mid-December, everything changed. I got a call from Owen. He was crying. "Owen, what's wrong? What happened?" "It's my dad," he choked out. "He had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. It's bad, Cameron. It's really bad." "Oh my God, Owen, I'm so sorry. Is he?" "He's stable right now, but they're saying he needs surgery, triple bypass, and the recovery is going to be long. My mom is falling apart and Emma's flying in and I'm coming home," I said immediately. "I'll get on the next flight." "Cameron, you can't just leave work." "I can and I will. You need me and I'm coming. I'll figure out the work stuff. Give me 12 hours. I called my boss, explained the situation, and to my surprise, she was understanding. "Family emergency, take the time you need, we'll manage." I was on a red-eye flight that night. Owen picked me up from JFK at 6 a.m. looking exhausted and relieved. He pulled me into a tight hug the moment he saw me. "You came," he whispered. "Of course I came. I'll always come when you need me." The next week was a blur. Owen's dad's surgery went well, but recovery was slow. I stayed with Owen, helping where I could, being there when he needed to cry or vent or just sit in silence. Emma pulled me aside one afternoon while we were at the hospital. "Thank you for being here," she said. "Owen needs you more than he'll admit." "I love him, of course I'm here." "He loves you too. I've never seen him like this with anyone else. You're it for him, Cameron." "He's it for me too." After 2 weeks, Owen's dad was stable enough that I had to consider going back to San Francisco. My boss had been patient, but I had work to do. "I should book a return flight," I told Owen one evening in his apartment. "I know, I don't want you to go." "I don't want to go either, but Owen, I have a job, a life in San Francisco." "What if you didn't?" I looked at him in surprise. "What?" "What if you came back to New York, permanently? I know the San Francisco job is amazing and I know I told you to take it, but Cameron, these past 2 weeks having you here, it's shown me what I really want. And it's you, here, with me." "Owen, I can't just quit." "Why not? You're talented enough to work anywhere. You could freelance or find something here, or, I don't know, we'd figure it out. But I don't want to do long distance anymore. I don't want to miss you every day. I want to wake up next to you and come home to you and build a life with you." "What about your family needing you here, your sister, your dad?" "That's exactly why I need you here too. My dad's heart attack made me realize life's too short to spend it on opposite coasts from the person you love. Yes, my family needs me, but I need you. And maybe that's selfish, but it's true." I sat down, my mind racing. "You're asking me to give up my dream job and move back to New York. I'm asking you to choose us, choose what we could have if we were in the same city. But Cameron, if you want to stay in San Francisco, if that's really what's best for you, I'll support that. We'll figure out the long distance. I had to ask, I had to know if there was a chance." I thought about the past 3 months in San Francisco. The exciting projects, the new friends, the career opportunities. It had been good, great, even. But I thought about these past 2 weeks with Owen, falling asleep in his arms, being there for him during a crisis, the easy intimacy of shared life. And I realized something: San Francisco had been good, but it hadn't been right, not without Owen. "Okay," I said. "Okay. I'll move back, I'll talk to my company, see if I can work remotely or transition out gracefully. I'll find something here, because you're right, life's too short, and I choose us." Owen's face lit up. "You're serious?" "Completely serious. I love my job, but I love you more. And I'd rather be here with you, building something real, than in San Francisco missing you every day." He kissed me then, deep and passionate and full of relief and joy. "Move in with me," he said against my lips. "Officially, don't get your own place, just come home here with me." "That's fast." "We've been dating for almost 9 months, we've done long distance, we know what we want, so yes, it's fast, but it's also right." "Okay," I said again, laughing. "Okay, yes, I'll move in with you." Over the next month, I made the transition. My company in San Francisco was disappointed but understanding, and they agreed to let me work remotely for a few months while they found my replacement. I packed up my small apartment, said goodbye to the friends I'd made, and moved back to New York. Moving into Owen's apartment felt like coming home. We made space for my things, rearranged furniture, created a small office space where I could work. Jesse helped with the move, making inappropriate jokes the whole time. Finally, you two are living together. I was tired of Cam pinning long distance. How's it feel? Jesse asked as we unpacked boxes in what was now my and Owen's bedroom. Surreal, good, really good. You made the right choice. I think so too. That night, after everything was unpacked and Jesse had left, Owen and I collapsed onto the couch together. So, Owen said, pulling me close, we live together now. We do, having second thoughts. Not even a little bit, you. None, this feels right, Owen, being here with you. This is where I'm supposed to be. I love you so much, Owen said, kissing my forehead. Thank you for choosing this, for choosing us. Always, I promised, I'll always choose us. Cameron, we're going to be late. I was struggling with my tie. Formal events were not my natural habitat, while Owen waited by the door looking unfairly handsome in his suit. I'm coming, why is this tie impossible? Owen walked over and gently pushed my hands away, fixing the tie himself with practiced ease. There, perfect. You're perfect, I said, kissing him quickly. Have I mentioned that lately? Not in the past hour, so I was starting to worry. We were heading to a medical fundraiser, one of Owen's work events that I'd been roped into attending. A year ago, I would have been nervous about meeting his colleagues, worried about judgment or awkward questions. But now, after a year of living together, after becoming an established part of each other's lives, I felt confident. The event was at a fancy hotel full of doctors and donors and people who looked like they belonged in a medical drama. Owen's hand found mine as we walked in, and he didn't let go, a simple gesture that said everything about how far we'd come. Dr. Reeves, a woman approached us, smiling warmly. So glad you could make it, and you must be Cameron. Owen talks about you constantly. All good things, I hope, I said, shaking her hand. Exclusively good things. I'm Dr. Patricia Chen. I believe I'm your doctor now. You've been great, by the way, very thorough. Well, I had to live up to Dr. Reeves' standards. He's very particular about his, she paused, smiling, former patients. Owen blushed and I squeezed his hand. We made our way through the event, Owen introducing me to colleagues and friends. Everyone was warm and welcoming, and more than one person mentioned how happy Owen seemed these days. You're good for him, his supervisor told me at one point. We were worried when the whole situation first came up, but seeing you two together, it's clear you make each other better. Later, as we stood on the hotel balcony getting some air, Owen pulled me close. Thank you for coming tonight, he said. I know these work things aren't your favorite. I'd go anywhere with you, you know that. I do know that, and I love you for it, he paused. Actually, there's something I want to talk to you about. My heart skipped. Okay. I've been thinking about the future, our future, and I know we've talked about this vaguely, but I want to make it more concrete. He took a breath. Cameron Mitchell, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to make this official. Will you marry me? For the second time in our relationship, I forgot how to breathe. Do you have a ring? Owen laughed. Not on me right now. I was planning to do this more romantically, but I couldn't wait. The ring is at home in my sock drawer where I've been hiding it for 3 weeks trying to plan the perfect proposal. Your sock drawer. I'm not great at hiding things, so what do you say? Will you marry me? Properly, with a ring and planning and everything, but also right now in principle. Yes, I said immediately. Yes, absolutely 100% yes. Owen kissed me. And I kissed him back, both of us laughing and crying a little because this was everything. When we got home that night, Owen immediately went to the sock drawer and pulled out a box. Inside was a simple silver band with our initials engraved inside. I had it custom made, Owen said as he slid it onto my finger. I wanted something that was uniquely ours. It's perfect, you're perfect, this is perfect. So we're really doing this, getting married. We're really doing this. 2 years later. The clinic waiting room hasn't changed much since that first day I walked in with a headache and walked out with the love of my life. Same chairs, same antiseptic smell, same terrible magazines. But this time I'm not here as a patient. I'm here to pick up my husband. Still gives me butterflies to say that after his shift. Cameron, Dr. Chen spots me and waves, here for Owen. Yeah, he should be finishing up soon. He's just wrapping up with a patient, should be out any minute, she smiles. How's married life? It's amazing, we just celebrated 6 months. Congratulations, you two are one of my favorite love stories, started right here in these exam rooms. Best medical appointment I ever had. As if on cue, Owen emerges from the hallway shedding his white coat. When he sees me, his face lights up, the same way it has every day for the past 2 years. Hi, he says, kissing me. Hello, ready to go. Ready, how was your day? Long, good. I had a patient today who reminded me of you, came in with stress headaches, terrible at drinking water, probably needs better work-life balance. Did you ask them out for coffee? Absolutely not, that only works once in a lifetime. He takes my hand as we walk toward the exit. Besides, I'm very happily married. Good answer. As we step out into the New York evening, I think about how strange life is. How a routine doctor's visit turned into the greatest adventure of my life. How the man who was supposed to cure my headaches ended up healing something much deeper, the loneliness I didn't even know I was carrying. What are you thinking about? Owen asks as we walk toward the subway. Just how lucky I am that I got sick that one time, that I happened to go to your clinic, that you were brave enough to text me about coffee. I think about that too sometimes, how different everything would be if you'd gone to a different doctor or if I'd been too scared to reach out. But you weren't scared. Oh, I was terrified, I just wanted you more than I wanted to play it safe. He squeezes my hand. Best risk I ever took. Best medical emergency I ever had. You had stress headaches, not a medical emergency. Semantics. We're laughing as we descend into the subway, just another couple in the city heading home after a long day. But I know the truth, we're not just another couple. We're a love story that started in an exam room, that survived long distance and family crises and big life decisions. We're proof that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes love finds you when you're sitting in a paper gown, trying not to have a gay panic attack while your doctor checks your blood pressure. Sometimes all it takes is one appointment to change everything. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that appointment leads to a lifetime of love, laughter, and the occasional reminder to drink more water. I love you, I tell Owen as we wait for our train. I love you too, he replies, kissing my temple, forever and always. Forever and Always started with a checkup that changed everything. The end. For everyone who's found love in unexpected places, for all the doctors who have ever had a crush on a patient and waited the appropriate amount of time before doing anything about it, for everyone who's taken a leap of faith on someone special, this story is for you. Sometimes the best medicine is love, and sometimes you find it exactly where you least expect it. Face red, white rainbow.